Hello my little munchkins. How's your November going? Mine's going okay. Like I said, not a huge fan of November. Kind of in hibernation mode right now. Been sleeping an awful lot whenever I get the chance because there's not really an awful lot else to do. Although there is the Christmas tree light switch on thing happening I think next weekend in my town, so I might go to that, I might not. I haven't decided yet. Well, Trump won. What can you really say? It didn't crack the universe open. I didn't get superpowers. A little bit disappointed. Feel like he owes me a little bit there. I guess the best thing that we can do now is just hold on tight and go along for the ride. You know, nothing else for it. I guess I would have felt the same way no matter who won. But, you know, it is what it is. What can you do? Been watching quite a lot of really good sci-fi recently. I finally got round to watching Humans, which is a Channel 4 programme. I was put on to that by a friend of mine. She had watched the whole thing in one day and recommended it to me, and I had seen trailers for it on Channel 4 and stuff before and thought, oh yeah, that looks good, but I never remember to watch TV. I don't watch an awful lot of TV. I would watch box sets of stuff faster. So you can get it as a box set now on Channel 4 catch-up thingy. And I've watched that and it's really seriously good. Very, very good. Like I watched the entire thing in a day. I'm finally watching, well, I'm going to start watching season 2 of Gotham. I'm kind of rewatching season 1 at the minute because it's been so long. It's actually been quite some time since season 2 came out, so I think I better rewatch season 1 because I'm just going to be watching it and being like, I don't really understand what's going on here. So I'm watching that. That's pretty good. I watched something that's on Netflix. If you've got Netflix, I really recommend that you watch something called The Expanse. It's based on a series of novels by some guy whose name I can't remember. That's not really one guy, it's two guys pretending to be one guy who write together. I think that's it. They have adapted it for TV and it was really, really good. I was a bit like, oh, like I'll see how the first episode goes. Basically, since I watched Stranger Things, I've just expected anything that I watch on Netflix to not be as good as Stranger Things. And when I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's alright, but it's not Stranger Things. But this was pretty good. I would recommend it if you're into sci-fi, if you're kind of, it's, you know, all sci-fi is just an amalgamation of every other sci-fi these days. There's nothing that's really incredibly brand new, but you can still get stuff that's really well written. And it does kind of have a bit of Firefly, a little bit of Battlestar Galactica, a little bit of Star Wars. You know, it's obviously drawn from a lot of things within the genre, but it's really well put together. It's really nicely done, really nice to look at. So if you're into sci-fi, I recommend The Expanse. A good piece of news for me this week. I got a job. It's only temporary, so you know, don't shit yourself just yet. It's the same place that I worked through the summer. They asked me to come back and I've said yes, so that's good. I'm sort of sorted for another few months. And we'll see what happens after that. But it's really nice. It's really good to be back in work. And oddly enough, it seems that jobs are a bit like buses. Like you don't have one for ages, and then 3 came along at once, because I actually got offered 3 jobs within the last couple of weeks. After all that, kind of feel a bit bad that I spent so long weeping and wailing and renting my clothes and you know all that kind of stuff in my video a couple of weeks back, but apparently that's all you have to do, you know, to get some work, is to complain on YouTube. So this video is going to be all about how I've never won the lottery and I'd really love to, and it's really, really hard that I've never won the lottery. Yeah, so I'm expecting great dividends to come from that within 2 to 3 weeks. And at last I can retire and give up this life of crime. Spot the reference. Huh? Timmy's in the well? Say hello to the folks. Hello, folks. Anyway, so Saltcat and I thought that what we would talk about today is kind of just the job process in and of itself for me in my life. How I get jobs is really strange, okay? There's been this really weird pattern in my life as to how I get jobs. I have always got jobs working somewhere because I already know the people somehow. And I mean, I've been through interview processes and stuff like that, but I always end up getting jobs somewhere that I have a connection to in some way. Do you know what I mean? Like, my first job I got because my sister worked there. The next job I got because a friend of my mum's got it for me. The next job that I got after that, I got because my downstairs neighbour worked there. The next job I got after that, a friend worked there. The next job I got after that was the same place that I had worked previously, but in a different building. The next job I got after that was the hairdressers that I already went to. The next job I got after that was because I'd volunteered there for over a year already. And I think it's got something to do with the fact that when you first meet me, and I'm not saying this to be down on myself in any way, I just know what I'm like. When you first meet me, I think I can be a little bit too much to take in. I'm quite an exuberant person, and that comes across an awful lot of my personality, and I think that people have to ease into getting to know me quite slowly. I don't really come across very well in job interviews. I tend to just blurt things out. Like, I try so hard to say the things that they would want me to say in a job interview, but I end up just kind of accidentally being myself, and that doesn't always go down so well. Some of the strangest things that I've said in job interviews, I got an interview years back for a well-known video store. I don't know if I should say any names or not. Some of these places aren't even in business anymore. But this was for a very well-known video chain company, shall we say. One of my first ever interviews, okay, so to be fair, I hadn't exactly had an awful lot of experience. And they said to me, so, what can you tell us about the company? Do you know anything about it? And I was like, no. Am I supposed to? And, now obviously I know that if you're going to work for a place, you should probably do a little bit of research before you go in. Just, they just want some guff about how many chains they own or what services they offer, and I was like, oh, you do videos? One job that I did get, and this just goes to prove how super awkward I am in any situation anyway, it was a trial basis. I was supposed to be there for a trial basis, and they decided to offer me the job. Excuse me, just unhooking a cat from myself there. They offered me the job, and I said yes, and I got so giddy about it that I turned around to leave the room, and there was a thing sitting on the floor, and it was something that the boss had made for one of his grandchildren. It was this beautifully put together train calendar thing. It had like a train on the top and it was calendar underneath, and I clean kicked it across the room and down some stairs. Smooth. I did have a job interview quite recently for another well-known chain that sells alcohol. One of the interview questions that they asked me was, what would you ask a customer who came in and maybe didn't know what they wanted to buy? And I just didn't word it properly, which isn't normally an issue of mine. What I wanted to say was, what sort of things do you normally like to drink? Maybe I could suggest something similar that you haven't tried before. But what actually came out was, do you drink much? Like, are you a big drinker? You know, go. You want some meths? Got some meths out the back. You can have that for free. Didn't get that job. Another silly thing that I've done before going in for a job interview is to watch sad animal videos. Who the hell does that? So obviously, because I'm a crier, I watch these sad animal videos, and it's not, I don't watch anything where an animal is hurt or anything like that. I can't stick it. But like things where, a guy's come back from the war and his dog meets him again for the first time in 6 months. I am in floods of tears, go in for a job interview, look like a panda. What's wrong with me, Yeah, I don't do terribly well in job interviews a lot of the time. So a lot of the places that I have worked, the people have kind of got used to me, and they know my personality, and they know how, I'll put a lot of myself into a job. And they've kind of gotten over the first hurdle of just meeting me in general and getting to know me. So yeah, so that's basically how I get jobs, just by I guess hanging around like a bad smell until I've got no choice but to hire me. Once I'm in a job though, I'm really good, I'm pretty good. I like to think I'm pretty good. I like to try hard when I'm in a job. But that doesn't always necessarily mean that I'm any less awkward, just that I'm awkward within the context of being employed, I suppose. I used to live in a house that was basically directly opposite one of my jobs. It was just across the street and up a wee bit. And I had keys for the place, and I probably shouldn't even be telling this story because it makes me sound ridiculous, so please bear in mind, I was about 20 years old. The place doesn't even exist anymore, nothing bad happened, I came home from a night out once, and I used to work every other weekend in there, and I came home from a night out and I thought, if I go to sleep now, I'm never going to get up in time for work. like, bear in mind, it's about 2 in the morning, I'd had a skin fall. It seemed like a really good idea at the time, so rather than just setting a bunch of alarms to make sure that I got up, which, you know, I don't really ever do this anymore either, because at this age now, being hungover in work is like one of the shittest things ever, 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 ever. It's so impossible. But I was like I said, I was 20, and basically I came home from a night out, got fully dressed for a day in work, did my makeup again, put on fresh work clothes, and then I went over to work and let myself in and went to sleep in the stockroom so that I would be sure to be there the next day for work. So, I mean, yeah, okay, that probably shouldn't have happened, but that's dedication. I didn't want to miss my day in work, so, you know. And I did, I worked and it was fine. No fires happened, nothing burned down around me or anything, it was grand. There was the time that I was going into one of my places of work. It was literally my first day back at work after my holiday, and as I was walking in, this place had a small step. I mean, literally the step's probably about 2 inches high on one side and maybe 4 inches high on the other. It's not that big a step because it's on a slope. And I was carrying a bag and I was looking at my phone. It was my own fault. I was looking at my phone as I went in the door, and rather than stepping onto the step properly, I stepped onto the edge of it and my foot toppled over to one side and I bent my entire foot up and back on itself so that I was basically flat on my ankle. And I fell into the door face first. I opened the door and go in, and the girl who's in there was killing herself. She was like, "Was that you, like, falling into the door?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're not surprised. They were never surprised when I fell. I'm also a faller. Like, constantly knocking over the trolleys full of stuff in there, constantly just tripping over myself. I used to get stuck in the tiles and work. I used to trip over the little gap between the tiles. I could trip over my own feet, like, doing nothing. So I came in and I started my day in work. I didn't have a lot of clients that day. This was the hairdressers. I didn't have a lot of clients that day. I had a few that morning, but I had quite a few the next day. But as the day went on, my foot started to get really sore and swollen to the point where I couldn't even lift it off the floor. I was walking along, dragging it behind me, like, you know, it was really bad. And the girl that I was on with that day was like, "Okay, you have to go to the hospital." And she was really great. She rang all my clients and said to them, "Look, Susie's had a fall. Can we rearrange your appointment, or can I fit you in with somebody else," kind of thing. My boyfriend at the time came to collect me and drove me to the hospital, and it turned out that I'd torn all the ligaments in the bottom of my foot and just been walking around on it. And I ended up on crutches. So yeah, that was pretty smooth. Just another great day in the life of Susie in jobs, you know, what the hell. All that aside, I am really grateful. I'm really glad that I've got a little bit of work coming my way now. Hopefully more comes out of it, but if it doesn't, I'm still really grateful. I'd like to thank everybody who has listened to me moan about not having any work or anything like that. There could be more moaning in the future, I'm just warning you now. Maybe not necessarily about jobs, but like I could still moan about something. I did start this channel because I wasn't working and I needed something to kind of occupy myself, and I wanted to share what it was like to not be in work. Please don't think that I'm going to stop now just because I've got some work. Even if I get more work out of this job than I think that I'm going to, like it's currently just for a few months, you know, there's still plenty of stuff for me to share. There's plenty of experiences for me to talk about. This isn't just the only thing that I want to do. Obviously I want to do as well as I can in this job. I really love the place that I'm working, and it means a lot to me, but I do have a lot of other plans for the future, and you know, I'm still going to share all that stuff. I'm still going to, you know, come on and tell you all the stupid things that I do, and, you know, give you the benefit of my experience and things like that. If there is anything that you'd like me to talk about, if there's any videos that you'd like me to make, please feel free to comment. If there's any questions you want to ask me that I can answer, feel free to comment. You can also get me on Twitter. I am Corsair Soul on Twitter. I'll write that down in the description box below. But yeah, get in touch with me, have a chat with me, let me know if there's anything that you want me to make a video about specifically. I would love to do that for you guys. Feel free to like and subscribe. I am really enjoying myself doing these little videos, and I've got plenty more on the horizon. There's loads to come. So today's only a quick one, just to say thanks to everybody who's been hanging around and supporting me, and to let you know that I am currently no longer Dole Scum. I am working. Thanks you guys. So you've been great. See you soon. Bye!